Well, I had a different question, but it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're
no, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term, because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
Why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want, okay, because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't want to call it the super far left, but don't tell me the left
had... Maybe the super far right.
Well, he's talking about the left. Well, then
okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger.
Bill Maher didn't just disagree with Sunny Hostin. Dismantled her live, on air, in front of millions, and the audience never saw it coming. Here's what makes this moment so fascinating. Both of these people sit on the same side of the political aisle. Both are card-carrying members of the American left. And yet, Maher walked onto that stage and did something that almost nobody in Hollywood dares to do anymore. He turned the camera around and pointed it directly at his own side. That's not just bold. That's a breaking point. So the real question isn't whether they disagree. The real question is what this clash reveals about the deep, festering fractures within the left itself. Has Hollywood finally started eating its own? What exactly did Maher say that put the woke establishment on red alert, and why does this internal conflict matter far beyond a daytime talk show? Going to break down every single layer of it. Buckle up. You will not want to miss a second of this.
I wanted to ask you about that because I think you're almost a free speech absolutist. You believe totally in the right to say what you believe, but I think a lot of us were disturbed to see terrorist flags being waved on American college campuses and seeing this a generation that some I think genuinely care about the plight of the Palestinians. I think most Americans do, but some who seem to be embracing a terrorist organization over the nation of Israel. What do you make of this moment? What do you think it's a result of? How do we fix it?
Well, I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war is on. I mean, before the war. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values. I mean, women have this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights in this place. And a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. I mean, there is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment.
The LGBTQ community. Yes.
That too. But you throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens.
And that's where Maher's argument lands its sharpest blow, because the hypocrisy isn't abstract. It's personal. Consider this, the majority of women on The View, including Hostin herself, enjoy freedoms that are legally denied to women living under the very governments their progressive allies refuse to criticize. Women's rights in many Palestinian-controlled territories are not a gray area. They are severely, systematically restricted. Somehow, the outrage machine stays silent on that, while laser-focusing its fury on Israel. Maher called it out directly and without apology, challenging his critics to spend a single day living under the regimes they so passionately defend. Predictably, the panel scrambled. Hostin and her co-hosts retreated to their default shield, were just bystanders, as if detachment could erase the weight of what had just been said. It couldn't. Then came the next move. When Maher argued that a genuine Marxist would actually embrace woke culture, Hostin sensed her footing slipping. She pivoted fast, trying to recast him as someone who encourages harm against the vulnerable, a classic last-ditch play used whenever this crowd finds their arguments crumbling. Maher didn't even blink. He had anticipated it long before she said it. He dismantled the accusation with precision, exposing not just the weakness in her specific argument, but the fragility of the entire ideological framework behind it. This wasn't just a TV moment. This was a warning shot fired from inside the building. And if you think the left isn't paying close attention to what just happened here, think again. Hit that like button if this opened your eyes, and subscribe because the story is far from over.
Notice what I've noticed. But I find that oftentimes when I'm watching the news, I'm only getting portions, because one of the things that happens, I was listening to you talk about the kids that had the Hamas flags. It reminded me of when people were saying Antifa is there, and doing it. So bad players show up and make stuff happen. But do you find that the view that we're being shown seems to be meant to guide us into thinking about people one way, when in fact it may be a much bigger conversation?
Oh, of course. I mean, the media is always going to just chase what is interesting to watch. I mean, I used to be able to watch the nightly news, for example. I can't do it. I mean, first of all, it should be called, here's some video we found that's fun to watch. That's not the news.
Yeah.
Like anything that happens on a plane. Like the plane skidded off the runway, so what? Call me when anybody died, and it's not, the door fell off. Okay, I'm sorry.
I understand the door falling off, but you don't want to be up in the air.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. That one I needed to know.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And then by the time you get to the last segment, it's just, the bears in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's narrative over truth.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half.
Yeah.
And it's tedious.
Yeah.
I just want one place, and of course it's my book and my show.
What?
Rather than getting tangled in Hostin's framing, Maher did something far more surgical. He recontextualized the entire argument. He pointed out that language evolves, that words shift in meaning, and that the version of woke being defended on that stage had very little to do with its origins and everything to do with how the radical left had reshaped and weaponized it. Accusations of hypocrisy were meant to destabilize him. Instead, they backfired completely. Through a masterclass in reframing, Maher managed to place Hostin in the exact corner she had been building for him. Did you catch that reversal? Because it was stunning. But it didn't stop there. Maher revealed something far more personal, a genuine turning point in his own thinking. He described the moment he watched self-described progressive activists openly cheering for Hamas, a group formally designated as a terrorist organization by the United States, the European Union, and dozens of other nations. That contradiction hit him hard. These were people who positioned themselves as champions of human rights, and yet they were applauding an organization with a documented, explicit agenda of violence. The cognitive dissonance was, by his account, impossible to ignore.
We're talking about your new book, which is that 20 years of your editorials re-edited and reimagined right in time for Father's Day. What do you want people to take away from reading it?
Yeah.
Well, I think I think we're tribal now, which is not good. And I think there's 4 tribes. Basically, there's old school liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives. There's still some of those
You've
left.
changed, though.
Wait, what are the other two?
Well, that's what I was trying to find out in this book. I don't think I have. And we were saying in the break, we have to come up with a new word for woke. Let's have a contest, because this is a word that's triggering. But I mean, those concepts that are different than they were 5 years ago. I mean, we used to do, well, you did it. I was a guest on what was the homeless show? Comic Relief.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You were, great show.
Yeah.
And homeless was a term that I thought we kind of came up with, because people were calling them bums and vagrants and hobos.
Yeah, now that's
homeless. No.
It's unhoused.
Well, it's people experiencing homelessness. But they're experiencing it on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, the liberal view of that was, for compassion's sake, we're the liberals, we're compassionate. Let's get these people off the street. That's not the view of the, whatever word we're going to come up with for this. Their view of the homeless is they're an endangered species that needs to be protected in their natural habitat, living their best life under a bridge. That to me is crazy. That's the kind of things, I haven't changed on that. I still think we should get these people off the street. That's the compassion sake. So I didn't change, they changed, and there's lots of examples.
Maher walked onto The View expecting a routine book promotion, a few laughs, a few talking points, and a clean exit. That is not what happened. Within minutes, What was supposed to be a friendly chat detonated into one of the most uncomfortable, electric confrontations daytime television has seen in years. The panel didn't see it coming. The studio audience didn't see it coming. And honestly, neither did most viewers at home. Maher flipped the entire script. When Sonny Hostin zeroed in on his use of the word woke, clearly expecting him to stumble or backpedal, he didn't flinch. He leaned straight into it. Hostin's strategy was calculated: frame Maher as a hypocrite, an insider who built his career inside the very system he now criticizes. It was a clever trap, but here's where things don't add up. Maher saw the setup the moment it was laid. He recognized the rhetorical maneuver instantly, the kind of carefully weaponized language designed to put opponents on the defensive. Instead of retreating, he reversed the entire narrative, making it crystal clear that he understood exactly what was happening, and reminding everyone in that room just how conveniently they had forgotten the real history of the movement they were championing.